Before we even get to the US, the coronavirus capers in Australia are again over the top. Just 9 new cases in Victoria in the last 24 hours and just 1 overseas arrival into quarantine in Sydney. And that's it. That's the total new cases in this country today. And yet we see scenes like this in Melbourne over the weekend. A woman arrested for not giving her details to police during a police visit. During a visit to the beach when she was questioned by police. What a joke. What a disgrace. What sort of a weird, tinpot, paranoid, authoritarian country have we descended into when this sort of stuff goes on? But it gets worse. Daniel Andrews, in another one of his rambling media conferences today, has announced that more Victorian kids can go back to school. This is supposed to be good news. High school kids can go back to school, but not this week, not next week, not even the week after that, not till the end of the month. And even then they'll have to wear masks, which might be sensible. I mean, this is pretty sickening stuff, isn't it? There was never any medical reason to keep kids away from school. That's what the National Chief Medical Officer has said all along, yet they're now going back over coming weeks after their whole school year has been ruined in Victoria. And Daniel Andrews spins this as a positive. This bloke is so consumed by the detail, so obsessed with this virus above all else, that he thinks he's in charge or running everybody's lives. Just have a listen to him when he's asked if kids can go to swimming lessons today.
Will swimming lessons be allowed? Perhaps we'll come back to you on that, so we give you
outdoor swimming is allowed at the moment, so if it's an outdoor class, but indoor is not yet.
And I think there'd be some cohorting too, so you wouldn't want multiple school groups at the same venue. You'd want to try and keep people apart, just for the purposes of, you know, if there were a positive case and you had to close down one school, you wouldn't want groups of students to have been together, which then meant you had to close down 2 or 3 schools.
Apart from being insulting and overbearing, this stuff is just so dumb. COVID-19 is not a threat to kids. But I'll tell you what is a threat to kids: drowning every year. And the idea you would even consider keeping kids away from swimming lessons so you can be obsessive about your coronavirus infection levels when they're just not a matter of concern for kids is just the epitome of senseless government interference. Anyway, the madness has reappeared in Sydney today too. Remember, it was exaggerated concerns and long-lens camera shots of people at Bondi Beach that prompted state and federal governments to overreact with shutdown measures way back in March. Now, after 10 days without community transmission in New South Wales, on a hot spring day, we had authorities panicking about people getting too crowded on the sand and in the salt water at Bondi and other beaches. By the middle of the day, with temperatures above 30, seaside councils were warning people to stay away. And media and journalists are tut-tutting and drumming up stories about this. What do they want? To lock the joint down again? This is madness. Look, I don't think we're going to see any sense on any of this for a while. It's kind of bedded in, this argument, because it seems there are 2 kinds of people: those who love to panic about stuff like this and those who are more practical about what we need to do. And they'll be debating this for months and possibly years to come. And so it is in America, where the anti-Trump brigade see the president's infection as some kind of karma. They seem to think him getting the disease proves he's been wrong to be less than panicked about it in his response. That this makes no sense, of course, doesn't seem to trouble them. They go ahead with their lines anyway. The more logical response is that the virus is working its way around the US, and people who are out and about campaigning, travelling across the country, might be the most likely people to pick up this virus. Anyway, Trump has got the Rona. If he recovers quickly, it will tend to underpin his arguments and support his response to this virus. If he's made severely ill, many will say he's underestimated it. He's trying to continue campaigning, though, even from hospital.
It's been a very interesting journey. I learned a lot about COVID. I learned it by really going to school. This is the real school. This isn't the let's read the book school. And I get it, and I understand it.
We'll see what he's learned, but while his opponent is now pushing masks about the place even more strongly than ever.
This is not about freedom. It's about patriotism. You wear a mask to protect the person next to you. You wear a mask to protect the bus driver. You wear a mask to protect the person you're sitting next to on the bus.
But he wasn't wearing a mask. Work that out. After mocking Biden, though, for hiding in his basement for so long, Trump is at pains not to behave the same way, popping out of hospital in a motorcade to the delight of his supporters who have been gathered outside for a couple of days. But the critics now say Trump's drive-by campaigning has put at risk the Secret Service personnel in the vehicle with him. Now, maybe they've had the virus before. Maybe they were separated by glass. I don't know. No doubt we'll learn more. But really, whatever he claims and whatever counterclaims there are in this polarised political debate, neither a president nor the rest of America can hide in a basement for weeks or months, let alone years on end. It is unsustainable. That's what all this comes down to. You either accept there is a virus and you learn to live with it as best we can, or you pretend you can hide from it until we can dramatically defeat it. Sorry, but nature is not quite like that. We haven't defeated malaria, tuberculosis, the common cold, the flu, cancer, heart disease, or a host of other nasty viruses and diseases. They kill millions annually, obviously. We learn to live with them, tackle them, treat them, and minimise the damage they do. What makes people think coronavirus is the one big global medical challenge that people can miraculously control in record time?